Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, our praises, honor, and the glory shall go to Yahweh, Ba'asham, Yahweh Shai, Ba'asham, Rakakodash, Brakatham. Double honor shall go to apostles, elders, and bishops, a great millstone who continue to teach it to rule well. Shalom to the Akims, a great millstone and like-minded camps and individuals who continue to teach as one body, who continue to be out on the highways and byways, risking their lives for the greater good. Shalom to the sincere Aquats who continuously learning in silence, as the Holy Scriptures have commanded for you to do so. And also shalom to the true believers and subscribers of this true gospel, for this should be considered a true blessing from the higher power. This is Azariah Gabar, representing the King is Coming channel, back at it with another lesson for edification purposes. Okay, so this is going to be yet another video, Abaratazah, Lord willing, concentrating on this third woe, because myself and a whole lot of the other Akims out there that's preaching this true gospel in these last days are truly blowing the trumpet on what's going on. All right? It's becoming more and more exponential in these last days. Moving forward. All right, so the title for my lesson today is going to be Dough in Hand, Join in Hand. All right, Dough in Hand, Join in Hand. Because this is definitely biblical. All right, so basically put, for you individuals out there who continue to side and align with Babylon the Great, well, according to the Lord, you're already his enemy. You're his enemy. And what happens to the Lord's enemies? They get destroyed. Period. Hands down. So when it comes to you Jakes, you 2/3 Jakes that's out there thinking about joining the military or are already in the military, your ass is as good as dead, one way or another. Okay? Straight up. If you guys don't die during this third world conflict, y'all gonna die when the Lord makes his second coming with those chariots. Either way, y'all done. Period. So again, y'all want to roll up to these military recruitment centers, pledging to be all you can be. Well, your asses became an instant enemy to the Lord. And even if you're not in the military and you signed up for college and you fill out the financial aid form, well, guess what? You still got that selective service checkbox that you must check off in order to get any type of financial aid. So you guys are as good as dead too. And listen, I'll be straight up honest. When I was going to college, I'll say approximately 2 years before that Kuwait war back in 1991, I signed up for financial aid and I checked off that selective service box. Yes, I did. But by the grace of Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, I was never called to active duty. All right? But this time around, it's going to be a whole lot different. Plus, I'm pretty sure it's going to be a military draft. They're going to reinstate that draft very soon. All right? So what you see here on this screen, it says Trump gets massive backlash over deadly scheme. And so the title for the video is Trump stunned as war progressed and Iran rejected ceasefire proposal. Salakia. So let's pick sense out of nonsense real quick. If Iran is catching a beat down supposedly by Babylon and those small hatters, well then why would Babylon and the small hatters put in for a ceasefire? All right? If they're supposedly winning the war, why are they trying to propose a ceasefire? That's like two dudes going at it outside after school, after 3 o'clock in the back of the schoolyard. And one dude is beating down the other dude. You think he's going to say, okay, let's stop. No. He's going to continue to wail that behind until either that other dude is knocked out cold, or maybe somebody, some people come and hold him back and say, okay, dog, that's it, chill. Period. All right? So, Babylon has claimed that only 6 soldiers have been killed. But in this video, it's saying that over 500 soldiers have lost their lives. All right? So this lying-ass media wants to only say 6 soldiers because they're afraid of reprisals and backlash and protestings, all right? So I'm going to play this video in its entirety. But before I do so, fair use of the 1976 Copyright Act. Salakia, for this video, is strictly for education and edification purposes only. I'm not making a dime off this video. All right, so I'm going to play this video and then pull up precepts and we'll call it the day. Let's go.
Donald Trump is panicking as Iran has rejected his ceasefire offer. Donald Trump apparently only prepared for a 4 to 5 day war against Iran, and he assumed that if the United States were to kill the Ayatollah Khamenei, that Iran would immediately want a ceasefire, and that Donald Trump would be able to declare a victory, and that...
Remember that old saying back in the day, when you assume, you make an ass out of you and me. Okay? Let's continue.
War would not spread throughout the region. Donald Trump was warned that his personal views that that's what would take place were wrong, and he was indeed wrong. Hat tip to Winit. They were the first to report, and they're based out of Israel, that Donald Trump is now begging Iran for a ceasefire, and Iran immediately rejected it and said when there will not be a ceasefire will be on our terms. And now one of the major issues the United States is facing is, will we be running out of munitions? Do we have the capabilities for a long-term war if this drags out for many, many months? And in addition, we've learned some horrific news this morning
Well, the answer to that question is simply no. Babylon and Israel do not have the ammunitions to go toe-to-toe with Persia in the long run. All right? They don't. Let's continue.
Of our soldiers, a number of U.S. service members, have indeed been killed in action during the war already. We've learned that there have been so far 3 U.S. service members killed in action. 5 have been seriously wounded so far during Operation Epic Fury, is what the Trump regime is calling it. We're referring to it as Operation Epstein Fury or the Jeffrey Epstein War. The U.S. Central Command CENTCOM announced the deaths of these 3 U.S. service members. 5 are seriously wounded. We're following that. We're expecting, sadly, the number of deaths to increase. These casualties, as Open Source Intelligence Defender also notes, these casualties are likely the result of Iranian ballistic missiles and one-way attack drones that have been striking U.S. bases in Bahrain, Kuwait, and the United Arab Emirates, with some bases suffering much more serious damage than had been previously reported or announced by CENTCOM. Indeed, our government is giving false information, saying that the attacks have not been serious against our bases, only for us to learn later that they are indeed very, very serious. And now our service members have been killed, and Donald Trump has blood on his hands, and this whole regime in the United States has blood on their hands. Iranian's President Masoud Pezeshkian, he is alive, and he's stating this morning on state-run television that the Interim Leadership Council is now operational and has assumed constitutional control of the Islamic Republic of Iran. Pietzin adds that we will continue the path of the leader with strength. Our armed forces are crushing the bases of enemies. No sign by Iran that they will be stopping their retaliatory actions against U.S. bases and U.S. interests within the Middle East anytime soon. In fact, here's a statement that just came out from Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. They state that the 7th and 8th waves of what they're referring to as Operation True Promise are underway, targeting U.S. bases across the region. The IRGC claims that the Ali al-Salam Air Base in Kuwait has been completely disabled. They're claiming the number is 560 dead and wounded when it comes to Americans with U.S. Central Command, putting that number far less. And I do think that Iran exaggerates, but I also know that our government, the Trump regime, lies about everything. So we're going to be paying close attention to that. But the retaliation by Iran has indeed been fierce. In the central Jerusalem or central Israel area, in a city called Beit She'amish, there were at least 6 individuals killed in this central Israel area. 14 people are still missing. We expect that the death toll will be rising there with ballistic missile and other strikes by the Iranian regime. We are seeing more Iranian strikes in Bahrain. Also, an Iranian Shahed drone hit a French naval base in Abu Dhabi. Multiple explosions have been seen, and impacts from Iranian drones and ballistic missiles were reported at the Z Port, a commercial deep water port that serves Abu Dhabi within the United Arab Emirates. You can see here Iranian reports stated that a drone struck a UAE oil platform in the Persian Gulf. And it does appear that this oil platform in the Persian Gulf has indeed been hit. And we've been seeing this in Doha. We've been seeing this in Bahrain. We've been seeing in Doha as Inkar. We've been seeing this in UAE, in all of the kind of neighboring countries. An update on the Strait of Hormuz. Remember, this is where 20 to 25% of the liquefied natural gas, like our oil supply, traverses through the Strait of Hormuz. It's a narrow strait off of Iran, while the Strait of Hormuz now is at a standstill as Iran has apparently begun firing on all of the oil tankers that are near it. There's huge congestion on either side. And we will see what goes down there. Reuters is confirming as well that at least 150 tankers, including crude and LNG vessels, dropped anchor in open Gulf waters beyond the Strait of Hormuz, and dozens more were stationary on the other side of the choke point. Shipping data showed after U.S. and Israel strikes on Iran. I'll just show you what's going on around. I showed videos about this morning as well, but throughout Iran right now in their city centers and city squares, you have a lot of Iranians coming out calling for revenge after the death of Ayatollah Khamenei. You've heard a lot of people in Iran are saying death to America. You hear chants like that. Just look at this scene. Even in Yemen, for example, because one of the things to note about the Ayatollah is that the reach and influence was beyond Iran. This is why it was so foolish for Donald Trump to believe if you just kill the Ayatollah, you're going to disable the Iranian regime. You're going to get a new, more extreme Ayatollah, is what the CIA warned Donald Trump and what we've been talking about here. And we've been seeing America consulates and embassies across the Middle East now being attacked. And we also saw a number of agencies, intelligence agencies across the world representing Western countries, including here in the United States, warning against terrorist attacks and Iran activating terrorist cells. One of the things we are looking at right now, and our heart goes out, of course, to all of the people who died in that tragic shooting in Austin, Texas, at a bar there that took place at like 2 a.m. in the morning. Apparently, it was someone who was here from Seagal. And the FBI right now has activated its counterterrorism task force. I think there's a few individuals who died, multiple people who were injured at the shooting here in the United States. And that's being investigated perhaps as an act of terrorism, although more information is needed before I could report further on that. Officials are indeed confirming in a news conference that there were indications of a potential nexus to terrorism in this Austin mass shooting that has left 3 dead, 14 injured. It is being investigated as an act of terrorism as well. If Iran is prepared to bomb the Gulf states, it is also prepared to activate sleeper cells. Many people are, of course, acknowledging that reality, but we'll give you more information on Austin when that becomes available. A reminder of what took place in Karachi, in Pakistan, where their United States has a consulate there, where the locals were protesting and storming the U.S. consulate. Many people were killed. The people who were protesting as government forces shot at them, about 6 individuals, I believe, or so were killed there. But just play the clip so you can see the sign outside of that consulate. Let's play it. Also, we have to focus on a lot of things that are happening in this region. For example, Israel has been closing its crossings into Gaza Strip, including for humanitarian aid workers. This is happening. You know, we knew every time Donald Trump was saying, oh, there's a ceasefire and things are great right now in Israel and Gaza. I'm like, absolutely not. There are, hundreds and hundreds of people who are still being killed in Gaza. There was never actually a ceasefire there. Donald Trump does these fake ceasefires, and it makes the world far more dangerous as a result. Here's Lindsey Graham making his rounds on the various media networks this morning, and he's asked, well, does the president have a plan to guarantee that Iran will no longer do the things you say they're doing? And Lindsey Graham goes, that's not his job to have a plan. Why would he have a plan? Here, play this clip.
Social media post Sunday, President Trump wrote this, quote, hopefully the IRGC and police will peacefully merge with the Iranian patriots and work together as a unit to bring back the country to the greatness it deserves. Is hope the plan for the future of Iran?
No, the future of Iran is going to be determined by the Iranian people. The new Iran, whatever it is, whether it's a cleric or a representative democracy, our goal is to make sure it cannot become, again, the largest state sponsor of terrorism. That's a win for us.
But is there a plan to make sure that happens, Senator? Is there a plan? Does the president have a plan to guarantee that that happens?
No, it's not his job or my job to do this. How many times do I have to tell you? Our job is to make sure.
All right, so this video was longer than I thought, but you heard what that clown said. There is no plan from Trump and his cronies to try to end this war. There's no plan like that. All right? So, again, I'll say it over and over again for you Jakes who want to say, well, that ain't got nothing to do with me over there. What's that got to do with me over here? You heard what that dude said. I'm sure you guys heard about what happened in Austin, Texas with that dude, that so-called Hamite, okay? Because remember, you got a lot of those Hamites that convert to Islam. Big time. All right? You done took out 3 people and injured about 14 others. And you're going to have way more of these attacks coming very soon. All right? So let's go to the scriptures to close it out. Proverbs 11 and 20, it reads, "They that are of a froward heart are abomination to the Lord, but such as are upright in their way are his delight." Here's the point. Verse 21, "Though hand join in hand, the wicked shall not be unpunished, but the seed of the righteous shall be delivered." Woo! There you go. So like I mentioned at the beginning of this video, when you Jakes decide to join hand in hand with mainly Esau the wicked, you guys shall not be unpunished. You're going to catch it, just like they will. You heard? So I'm going to close out this lesson for this morning. Abaratazah, Lord willing, that edification is brought forth. All praises, honor, and the glory shall go to Yahweh, Ba'asham, Yahweh Shai, Ba'asham, Rakak Kodash, Brakatham, Kwam Yashral, Rise Israel. And as always, Abaratazah, Lord willing, on to the next video. Shalom.